My sister's world shattered because of a car ride home, and she decided to take mine down with it. I never thought a simple act of convenience would unravel my family, but here I am, living in a dorm room I never planned to inhabit, looking over my shoulder for a woman I once called my sister. My name is Lena, I'm 19, and my older sister, Clara, is 22. The catalyst for all this was a boy. Well, a man really named Daniel. He was 20, the same age as me, and that small detail seemed to fester in Clara's mind like a poison. Daniel and I had a history, but it was a bland, unremarkable kind. We'd been in the same graduating class at Hamilton High, and by some twist of fate, ended up in the same pre-law program at Crestwood University. We were acquaintances, nothing more. When he started dating Clara 6 months ago, I was happy for them. She'd always been a bit dramatic, but she seemed genuinely smitten. Through their relationship, Daniel and I became friends. We had a lot in common. The same academic pressures, the same cynical sense of humor about our professors, a love for terrible sci-fi movies. It was easy platonic camaraderie. I made sure to keep my distance, just as Clara had asked when she first expressed a flicker of unease. I understood. I really did. The trouble started on a Tuesday. We'd had a brutal evening seminar on constitutional law, and I was dead on my feet. The sky was already pitch black, and a cold drizzle had started to fall. I was dreading the long walk to the bus stop and the even longer ride home. Daniel had been invited to our house for dinner with my parents and Clara. As we were packing our bags, he turned to me. "Hey, Lena, I'm heading to your place anyway. You want a ride? Save you the bus fare." It was a no-brainer. A warm, dry car versus a cold, wet bus. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Daniel. I didn't think twice. I should have. I should have walked through the rain and been grateful for it. For the entire 20-minute drive, I was asleep, my head against a cool window, lulled by the hum of the engine and the rhythmic swipe of the windshield wipers. We didn't exchange a single word. When we pulled into the driveway, I was still groggy. Daniel and I walked to the front door together, him holding it open for me. The warm, savory smell of my mother's pot roast filled the air. I was already mentally halfway up the stairs to my room, dreaming of my pajamas, when Claire materialized from the living room. Her eyes locked onto us, and her smile vanished. "Why are you two together?" she asked, her voice dangerously low. Daniel immediately stepped in. "Clara, I just gave her a ride home from—" "Stop talking for her," she shrieked, cutting him off. Her voice was a whip crack in the quiet hallway. "Why do you always have a defender?" My parents came rushing in from the kitchen, their faces etched with concern. "What's going on?" my dad asked. But Clara was a volcano erupting. She turned her fury on me, her finger jabbing the air inches from my face. You're so jealous, aren't you? You can't stand to see me happy. Go find your own man to drive you around. Stop trying to steal mine." I was stunned into silence. "Clara, I wasn't. I've seen it. The way you look at him. You think every guy wants you? You're pathetic, desperate." She lunged forward and grabbed my wrist, her nails digging deep into my skin. The pain was sharp and shocking. I yanked my arm back instinctively, and she used the momentum to shove me hard against the wall. The air left my lungs in a whoosh. Daniel moved to get between us, his hands up in a placating gesture. "Clara, calm down." "Don't tell me to calm down. You're my boyfriend. Mine, not hers." She was screaming now, her body trembling, her breasts coming in ragged, heavy pants. Her eyes were wild, fixed on me with a hatred that made my blood run cold. My mom tried to put an arm around her. "Honey, please. Let's all just take a breath." But Clara was beyond reason. She was shaking, panting, glaring at me as if she wanted to tear me apart. My mom, in a panic, turned to me. Lena, just go to your room. You're making it worse. I felt a hot flush of confusion and betrayal. What did I do? I was just sleeping in a car. My sister let out a guttural sound, a mix of scream and a sob, and started shaking even more violently. She looked like she was having a breakdown, but the dominant emotion radiating from her was pure, unadulterated rage. It was terrifying. Leave! My mom yelled again, her voice cracking. So I left. I fled up the stairs to my room, my heart hammering against my ribs. I heard my parents ushering a stunned Daniel out the door. I sat on my bed, trembling, and cried. I felt accused, vilified, and most of all, scared. The way Clara had looked at me, I was genuinely afraid to leave my room. I felt like a prisoner in my own home. Later, Daniel texted me, "Is Clara okay?" I didn't know how to answer. I wasn't okay. I spent the next week as a ghost in my own house. I'd only emerge for classes or to quickly grab food, which I'd take back to my room. My mom, in a hushed tone, had advised me to do just that, saying Clara was fragile. Daniel, meanwhile, had started keeping his distance from Clara and our family. He'd still text me about shared assignments, but he never mentioned her. 3 days after the incident, I was at the university library when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Clara. "I hate you. If you come home today, I swear to God I will kill you." The words were like ice water. I stared at them, my mind blank with shock. What had I done now? I hadn't spoken to her, hadn't even seen her. I immediately forwarded the message to both my parents. A moment later, my phone rang. It was Clara. When I answered, she was already screaming, her voice thick with tears. "This is all your fault. You did this. You never want me to be happy. You had to take him from me because you're a lonely, pathetic bitch who can't get a man of her own." "Clara, I don't," I tried to interject. "Liar. It's your fault. Liar. It's your fault," she chanted, her voice rising to a hysterical pitch before I hung up, my hands shaking. Confused and frightened, I went to find Daniel. He was in the student commons, and he looked exhausted. When I asked him what was going on, he sighed heavily. "I broke up with her, Lena," he said quietly. "Last night, she started blowing up my phone, then my parents' phones, then messaging my friends on Instagram, begging them to make me talk to her. Then she started threatening. She said if I left her, she'd kill herself and it would be my fault." I stared at him, disbelieving. This wasn't the sister I knew. She wouldn't. He wordlessly unlocked his phone and showed me the texts. Dozens of them. Pleading, angry, and then the threats. "If you do this, I'll end it all. You'll have my blood on your hands, Daniel." My stomach churned. He told me he was scared, of her and for me. He said he was afraid any interaction with me would put me in more danger from her. I called my mom right there, with Daniel beside me for support. I explained everything, my voice trembling. I told her about the death threat, about Daniel's reason for the breakup. I put her on speaker so Daniel could confirm. But my mom didn't want to hear it. "Lena, how could you?" she snapped, her voice shrill. "Communicated with the boy who caused your sister so much pain? Trying to get me to speak to him? This is wrong. By continuing to talk to him, you're showing you don't care about Clara at all." I tried to make her understand the fear I felt, the threat Clara had made against me. "Mom," she said, "she'd kill me. She's just angry. You need to stay away from Daniel if you don't want to make her angrier," she yelled, dismissing me completely. Her refusal to see the truth, to protect me, felt like a physical blow. I broke down crying and had to end the call. I was too scared to go home. Clara started spamming my phone again. "Are you with him? What's taking you so long? I know you're with Daniel, you slut. When I didn't answer, she called from my mom's phone. I picked up, heard her voice, and hung up immediately. The exhaustion was bone deep. I ended up begging my close friend, Sophia, who lived in the dorms, if I could stay with her. I told her everything. She, bless her, didn't hesitate. I've been with her for a few days now. I told my parents I was staying to study for finals, but my dad is insisting I come home, saying they don't trust me out in the world and that I'm overreacting. They even made me get on the phone with Clara, who said in a flat, unconvincing voice, "I didn't mean it, Lena." I didn't believe her for a second. They accused me of trying to ruin the family's reputation by involving outsiders. The harassment from Clara got so bad I had to turn my phone off for a whole day. And then, on Saturday, they came to campus looking for me. All three of them. I was in a library and luckily didn't see them, but Daniel and another friend did. Daniel avoided them. But my friend said Clara aggressively asked her if I was sleeping with Daniel, while my parents told her to tell me to come home and answer my phone. The pressure was immense. I felt trapped. But the support and advice I found online gave me a sliver of courage. The hardest thing I've ever done was going back to that house to get my things. I went with Sophia for backup during a time I knew my parents would be home. I walked into the living room, Sophia trailing behind me. My parents looked up, surprised. "Lena," my dad began, his tone weary. "Stop this drama. It's enough. Come home. Forget this ever happened. I want to stay in campus housing for the summer," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "I have finals starting Thursday, and I need to focus. It's better if I'm here." My dad refused immediately. "You're not allowed. Not until you're older." My mom cut in. "We know this is about Clara. This is ridiculous." "I've decided. I'm doing it," I stated firmly. My father's face darkened. "Then I'll stop paying your tuition. Think about what the rest of the family will say. You'll have all summer here to make things right with your sister." The thought of a whole summer under the same roof as Clara filled me with dread. Sophia, who had gone upstairs to start packing, came rushing back down, her face pale. "Lena," she whispered, pulling me aside. "I was looking for a suitcase in your room, and your sister just burst in." She lunged at me and then stopped when she saw it wasn't you. She looked insane. "I'm scared. I want to leave." A fresh wave of fear washed over me. I took Sophia back to my parents and made her repeat what she just told me. My mom just sighed, a sound of profound irritation. "Fine. Go if you want. See how you survive without us." I looked at my dad, pleading with my eyes. He just shook his head. "You can go, but if you're not under my roof, you're not under my protection. Don't expect anything from us." The words were a final, brutal severance. "So, I have your permission to leave?" I asked, needing clarity. "You have our dismissal," my dad said coldly. Sophia squeezed my arm. "It's okay. Let's just pack." We went upstairs, my heart in my throat. My bedroom door was wide open, but Clara was nowhere to be seen. We moved quickly, packing as many of my clothes and essentials as we could into 2 large suitcases. We didn't speak. We just moved, a silent, efficient escape team. We were out of the house within 20 minutes, and I didn't look back. At the university, I went straight to the housing office with Sophia and explained my situation, the threats, the volatile home environment, the fear for my safety. The woman behind the desk listened with a kind, concerned expression. She explained I could qualify for summer housing if I enrolled in summer classes. It was a lifeline. "Thank you," I said, my voice choked with emotion. "I'll do it." She also advised me to speak with campus safety, which I arranged to do the next day with Daniel, as we both had evidence of Clara's threats and harassment. I called my father later that evening. I've arranged for summer housing. I'm enrolled in classes. The school is helping me. There was a long silence. Then, I'll pay the tuition and the housing fee. But everything else, food, books, your life, is on you. You've made your choice. It was a compromise born from a sense of duty, not love. But it was enough. Thank you, I whispered. As for pressing charges, I couldn't bring myself to do it. Not yet. The threat of being completely cut off financially was too real. I needed the stability of finishing my degree. Daniel, however, was moving forward with a restraining order against Clara. He had muted her but not blocked her, and he forwarded me the screen recordings of her increasingly unhinged voice notes, rambling about betrayal, love, and revenge. It was chilling. We leaned on each other, two people caught in the same storm. It wasn't about romance. It was about survival. We were allies. My finals came and went. I found a part-time job at a coffee shop near campus. The independence was terrifying and exhilarating. I was learning to budget, to cook simple meals in the dorm's communal kitchen, to build a life that was entirely my own, separate from the toxic dynamics of my family. One afternoon, about a month after I had moved out, I was studying in the dorm common room when my phone lit up. It was a text from an unknown number. I know where you live. The blood drained from my face. Before I could react, another message came through, this time from Daniel. It was a screenshot. Clara had sent him a photo. It was a grainy, zoomed-in picture of me, sitting right here in the common room, taken from outside the building. My heart stopped. She had found me. I ran to the window and looked down. There, across the street, standing under a tree, was Clara. She was just staring up at the building, her face a blank mask. She saw me, and a slow, cold smile spread across her lips. I stumbled back from the window, my breath catching in my throat. I immediately called campus security, my words tumbling out in a panicked rush. Then I called Daniel. They came quickly. Two security officers wanted to speak to her. From my window, I watched the interaction. Clara was calm, polite even. She shrugged, said she was just visiting a friend, and walked away. But she looked back once, her eyes finding my window again, and the message was clear. This isn't over. The incident lit a fire under me. The fear was no longer a vague anxiety. It was a sharp, present danger. I went to the campus safety office the next day with Daniel, and this time we filed a formal report providing all the evidence, the text, the voice notes, the photograph. They issued a no-contact order against her for the entire campus. It wasn't as powerful as a full restraining order, but it was a start. If she set foot on university property with the intent to harass me, she could be arrested. I also finally accepted that my relationship with my parents was irrevocably broken. They called a week after the stalking incident. Having heard from Clara, no doubt. They didn't ask if I was safe. They accused me of having their daughter chased by police. The last shred of hope I had for their understanding died in that moment. The rest of the summer passed in a tense, watchful routine. Work, classes, staying close to friends, always checking over my shoulder. Clara never physically approached me again, but I'd occasionally get a text from a new, disposable number, a single punctuation mark, a cryptic emoji. I blocked them immediately, but the violation lingered. Daniel was granted his restraining order. The judge saw the volume and nature of her communications and deemed her a credible threat. It was a small victory, a piece of legal paper that created a buffer of safety. As the new semester began, the constant, gnawing fear began to recede, replaced by a weary vigilance. I was healing, building a new normal. One evening, Daniel and I were studying in the library, a comfortable silence between us. "You know," he said, looking up from his textbook. For two people who just want a quiet life, we sure ended up in a mess. I managed a small, genuine smile. It was a first in a long time. Yeah, but we're through the worst of it. He nodded. We are. I looked out the library window at the bustling campus. It wasn't the carefree university experience I'd imagined, but it was mine. I had my freedom, my friends, and my future. I had faced my sister's demons and my family's betrayal, and I was still standing. The path ahead was my own to walk, and for the first time, I was no longer afraid to take the next step,